Hey guys, I'm Greg. I'm at the Honda Center right now where we sadly lost to the Buffalo Sabres, and you're watching Post to Post.
Hello and welcome to Post to Post, the channel where we discuss all things hockey and all teams. Not a very positive video here because we're talking about the Anaheim Ducks, who have struggled immensely over the past, 2 months or so.
Really bad.
I think they've lost 19 out of 21 games, something around that, or that's what it was prior to last game or whatever. We're filming this on a Wednesday. You'll probably see it tonight. It's tough because I believe I predicted Anaheim to get 99 points, and I think you predicted them to get 100 points. So both of us had them in the playoffs, and unfortunately they are very far from it. They only have, I believe, 51 points as we're filming this, and are roughly 8 points out of a playoff spot to tie that last wildcard spot. So they've gone from a pretty decent start this year to literally last in the Western Conference. So I want to go over just a couple stats, and I mean, anyone can just rhyme off stats, and you guys can go look them up yourself, but it's a good segue into conversation after that. So let's look at some stats. So, like I said, they're last in the Western Conference, 8 points back of a playoff spot. They are 29th in the league, so they're not actually last, but they are 29th at 51 points. They are 29th on the power play at 14.9%. They are 19th on the penalty kill, which is 79.7%. 31st in goals for, only 124 goals in 51 games. That's really, really bad. Absolutely terrible. 21st in goals against at 180. 31st in shots for per game at 27.5. 29th in shots against per game with 34.3. They are fourth in faceoff percentage, so 52.2%. So there's not really a lot of good stats in there other than the face-off stat. Everything else is pretty bad, to be honest. I found a quote from a player that said something about Carlisle in 2017, and I want to read it to you. The player said, "It's not your coach's job to be your friend, but there is a difference between that and being like your enemy." So I think that does speak some truth to a lot of coaches in the NHL. You have coaches. What are some friendly coaches? Gerard Gallant, I think, is a friendly coach.
Yeah.
He likes to be pretty friendly with his players. I'm sure that I want to say hang out off the ice, but I mean they definitely get along and as an actual friends off the ice. So, and then you have your hard-nosed coaches like John Tortorella, who probably is the player's enemy at the majority of the time. He says something and you do it. You don't ask why. You just do it, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I think what this player said is Randy Carlisle tries to be in between that a little bit. And I'm wondering if he's made some enemies by the players in Anaheim this year, and if he's lost the room. Do you think that could be part of it?
It's very odd because of the streakiness of Anaheim this year. They've gone on some really good runs where they had a 9-1 streak in October and in November, followed by like 12 games in a row, and then they were 50-50 for a while, and then another bad streak. And I don't know, pardon my throat, I don't know if there's a pattern because they do go on some good runs. It's not like the team has been habitually performing badly for a while. How long has he been the coach there?
I don't know, 3 years?
Yeah.
Something like that?
And really,
I don't remember, to be
we
honest.
both predicted them to be a contender this year. The talent on the team is not in question. So it has to come down to will and motivation. And the person who's responsible for will and motivation ultimately is the coach.
Mm-hmm.
Losing the room, I don't know. I don't know. I don't even know what that means, really.
I'm not saying that the players did it on purpose and forced Randy Carlisle out. I don't think that was the intention, but I think it gets to the point where if a coach tells you to do something because you're so pissed off, you're probably not going to do it.
Yeah.
Like if he tells you to go crash in the net, maybe you don't crash in the net just to be spiteful. Like it's not like you're trying to lose, but you don't have the relationship and rapport with the coach that you used to, and you just have lost respect for him. So you don't want to listen to him, or you don't want to give the effort. And that's on the players. but it's on the coach too, and you can't get rid of all the players. So it comes a time when you need to set the coach free, and that's what happened.
It's unfortunate that it works that way, and I think just 2 months before he was let go, he was given an extension of 2 years. He was doing well enough, and the management said, "Thanks, you're going well enough. Here's another 2 years, Randy." And then 2 months later, he's gone.
Yeah, that's
wow.
yeah, it's
Good for him, because I think he still gets money.
He does. Yeah, he would get paid out, I think.
But good grief, how could they have read that so wrong? I don't know. It's almost the really bad play of Anaheim seemed to coincide with his renewal, almost to the day.
I've noticed something. I know you don't get to watch Anaheim that much.
I don't.
So you can't really comment maybe
I don't.
as in-depth. But what I've noticed, and everyone watching this video who follows teams outside of their own favorite team likely has seen Anaheim give up anywhere from 2 to 5 goals. 2 to 7 goals in the first period in the past 2 months. It's like every single game that they played in the past 3 weeks, they've let in at least 3 goals in the first period. It would be weird if Anaheim came out of the first period at a 0-0 tie or with the lead. I don't think that's happened in the past 3 weeks. So I think a lot of the story that goes into the bad ending over the past 3 weeks has been that terrible first period, and it's been terrible. And it's not just the first period; it's the entire game. But it's the little things, like earlier I mentioned crashing the net. If you go back to last year, pick any date last year in the regular season on NHL.com, go to videos and watch a game recap, and you'll see Anaheim crashing the net. And by crashing, I don't mean running the goaltender over. I mean getting in the goaltender's face, crashing the net, pouncing on loose pucks, on the power play, on 5-on-5. Go back, watch the game recaps, and you'll see for yourself, and then watch a video or watch a recap from this year or watch a game, and you will not see them crash the net. Now, maybe they'll start doing that again because they were so good at it last year. Now they have the GM as their new coach. Randy Carlyle's gone. Maybe they have a little bit more jump in their step. So maybe you do see them crash the net from here on out. But if you go back and watch some game recaps from the past couple of games, over the past couple of months, really, you will notice that they do not crash the net like they used to. And their power play has been absolutely just atrocious. It's still not as bad as Montreal's, but bad for sure.
I'm just doing some math here. On the 17th of December, just before the Christmas break, they were 19, 11, and 5. They were on pace for 98 points. They were doing very well. 98 points, maybe... Well, it's almost a guaranteed playoff spot.
Yeah, 98 points, it's
95, 96 is iffy. 98 you're probably
I would say
at.
100 is guaranteed, but anything in the 90s now, you just don't know.
But these days, this particular season, there might be teams getting in the wild cards with points in the 80s.
Yes.
They're on pace for the 80s.
Yes.
And who knows? Yep. And in the West, it's just so crazy. But they were on pace for 98. I'm just still doing the math for what they're on pace for right now. But it's scary bad.
Well, I've written down every single game they play in the next 2 months, and I want to read them to you just to give you an idea. Can they turn this around? What kind of teams do they have upcoming? Are they playing better teams than them? Are they playing kind of bottom feeders like they are? Do they have a chance, basically? So their next game, which is tonight, as we're filming this, is against Vancouver. Then they play Boston, Washington, Minnesota, Calgary, Edmonton, Vancouver, Chicago, Vegas, Colorado, Arizona, St. Louis, Montreal, LA, Nashville, Arizona, Colorado, Florida, Winnipeg, San Jose, LA, Vancouver, Calgary, and Edmonton. I noticed 2 things there. Number one, they play a lot of Western teams. It seems that they've played the majority of their matchups against Eastern teams earlier in the season or up to this point. So they play a lot of Western Conference teams. That's not necessarily a good thing or a bad thing. It's just something to notice. The other thing I noticed is there's a lot of strong teams in this schedule coming up. So what I did, just for fun, I put on my page here an X beside the teams that I really didn't think Anaheim had a chance against. I put a little dash against teams that, you never know, they might win, they might lose. And then I put a check mark next to teams that I thought, even though Anaheim's having a bad year, they can probably still pull out a win here if they turn things around just even a little bit. So I did that for each one, and I have a tally. So as far as checkmark teams that they can probably beat, there's only 6. I've only counted 6. And again, it's a bit subjective, obviously, but with a dash, maybe, probably could lose, maybe could win, 9. And then X, pretty much definitely not winning, 9. So this is a very tough schedule for Anaheim coming up. And
It is. It
did
is.
you figure out the pace?
The pace is 75 points. That's rounding up. So they went from 98 pace to 75 pace now.
Yeah, 75 ain't going to do it.
Ain't going to do it. And they have 26 games remaining. According to the way ESPN calculates the wild card races, there's 12 of those games out of 26 are against what they call quality teams. And those are teams that have more points than they have games played. Now, Anaheim is so low that every other team in the league is basically better than they are.
Yes, that's true.
So compared to Anaheim right now, all those other teams are quality teams. But they basically have 14 winnable games that they probably won't win, all of them, and maybe not even half of them, according to your math. And they've got another 12 games they probably don't have a chance in.
Well, that actually works out with my math.
It does,
I said that they could probably win about 6, then they've got 9 that they could go either way. So if they lose half of those, I guess that's only like 11, whatever. But yeah, I don't know. So you said they have 26 games left?
26 games left. 22 of them are against the West.
Yeah.
That's the killer for them.
It is.
Big, big killer. Because if they don't do exceptionally well in those 22 games, then every team that beats them will be rocketing up the standings on top of them. Even if they go on a bit of a run after that, they can't put enough wins together to get in the playoffs.
So would you agree that 100 points guarantees a playoff spot?
Definitely.
Which these days is maybe just getting in the playoffs. Maybe just a couple points is above getting in the playoffs. Maybe not so much in the West, but just generally over the past couple of years. In order to do that, they have 51 points, so they'd have to win 24 of their games and tie 1. Correct? And then have 100 points.
Yeah.
So they can only afford to lose 1 game.
Yeah, and that gives them 100. And there is a chance in the West that you might be able to sneak in the playoffs with 90.
Exactly.
But even the math for 90, not favorable.
Yeah, not favorable. They'd have to win at least 18 games of the 26 remaining. So I'm not saying it's impossible. Teams have done it before. Calgary did it a couple of years ago. I think they had to win 16 of 20 games or something like that to end off the season, and they did it, and they made the playoffs. So it's not impossible. Ottawa did it in 2014, I think. So it can be done. It's just it's done so rarely.
In the East last year, which is a pretty good comparison, 97 points was good enough to get in the playoffs. In the West last year, 95 points was good enough to get in the playoffs. But that was it.
Yeah, I don't want to say that they can't do it, but I'm pretty sure that they're not going to do it, and that sucks because ruins our predictions a little bit. But I don't think we're alone there. I think a lot of people had Anaheim predicted probably anywhere from second in the division to a wild card spot, I'd say.
And right up till Christmas time, it looks like they were paying off.
Yeah.
And that's when Randy Carlyle got his extension because things were good.
Yeah.
They'd had a few ditches, but things were good. Yeah. And then the bottom fell out, as we'll say.
That's right. Yeah. All right. Well, thanks for watching, guys. I really appreciate it. If you could leave your comments down below in the comment section and let us know what you think Anaheim has to do to get out of this slump. Do you think they have a chance to get back in the playoffs this year, or do you think it's over? Let's just concentrate on next year. Let us know. That would be awesome. Thanks for watching. Subscribe if you're not already, and we'll see you in the next video. Adios.